Welcome back to Meet Us in the Ring. It is our 100th episode, Maddie.
That's crazy.
Can you? I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. You're speechless, clearly.
I'm so speechless. Like, oh my god, you guys, it's been. I'm not sure how many episodes we've done where it's like just me and you.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, but it still counts.
It counts. It counts. And no, very cool. Wow.
But to celebrate our 100th episode, honestly, we have an iconic guest today. We are interviewing the lovely, talented, amazing Arkady Aura. And so we are going to bring her in. If you guys have questions for her, leave them in the chat. And
hi! 100 episodes!
Very, yeah.
Guys. Congratulations.
Thank you. Cool. I know we've been grinding.
Yeah.
Every Sunday.
Thank you for being here. Honestly, like, we're so honored and appreciative that you are taking your time out of your busy schedule to be here. So
yeah,
I'm very happy to be. I might be a little tired because we had a show last night and got home this morning, but it's all good. It's all good. We're still on the West Coast right now, so I don't really have an excuse.
Okay, that's valid though.
Yeah.
So if you want to kind of introduce yourself, in case for some reason our subscribers don't know you, but
I'm the Collision ring announcer at AEW, and I've been there for about a year now, just over a year. And I started off doing backstage interviews as well. Started off at SoCal Pro, as you guys know. Woohoo! So I mean, I've been doing the ring announcing now on Collision for about 6 months. I absolutely love it. Finally, kind of found my place, I feel like, in wrestling. Tried a few different things, and I'm loving it so far.
Can you explain kind of how you got started with ring announcing and like what put you on this career path?
Yeah, I started out trying to wrestle. That was the first goal in wrestling. Yes, it wasn't for me. But I tried it and I stuck with it for like a decent amount of time. And I took a break from wrestling for a while. I got into it because I was watching Total Divas, Tough Enough, all that stuff back in like 2014, 2015.
Very nice.
And I grew up acting, doing musical theater, plays, and sports. So I was like, this is like a cool combo of all of that.
Yeah.
And after the wrestling and like managing didn't really work out, I took a few years off, and then our son kind of got interested in watching wrestling, and so I reached out to Jeff and Jonathan at SoCal Pro, I guess not this past summer but the summer before that, and asked if they would want me to come and do backstage interviews just for fun, not really thinking it would go anywhere, and it spiraled really quick, and I landed at AEW, and they needed a ring announcer, so I'm so happy to be there. Yeah.
That's so awesome. I didn't know that you had tried wrestling first. I feel like all of us kind of have that itch at some point, like women who are wrestling fans, like, but you know, sometimes you have to realize this isn't for me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Did you guys wrestle?
No.
Or try? No.
No.
I've always wanted to try.
I mean, I thought about it. I thought about I thought about
it's worth
trying to go to SoCal Pro, but I'm like,
maybe next month, Mary. We'll see.
Oh my gosh, that would be a fun episode.
Yeah.
That would be a good episode, yeah.
Just us trying to take a bump.
I applaud them, and I think I actually really appreciate having done it because I think it gives me a good appreciation of what they do in the ring. And you know, it's brutal. I mean, it's fascinating to watch, but it's really brutal on your body. It's not an easy career path. Yeah. So I'm in awe of everyone who is making their way as a wrestler. I think it's phenomenal.
For sure. Also, by the way, happy belated birthday. I saw that it was your birthday this month, at the beginning of the month, right?
Yeah. Yep. And it landed on a Collision date, so that was fun.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You celebrated at work.
Yes, exactly. Well, but thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Is it hard kind of being on the road during those types of things like Christmas, birthdays?
Right. Yeah, I think as far as the holidays go, I've been really lucky that we don't work on Christmas or anything like that.
Mhm.
But it's always hard. I mean, being on that, I think that is the toughest part of the job, no matter what stage you're at in wrestling, whether it's the Indies or AEW, WWE, all these companies. Like the travel and what you put in behind the scenes is the hardest part. And I think once I'm there, um, and in it, it's of course so much fun. It really is living a dream. It's the travel to and from where you're missing home and family and stuff like
Mhm.
that. But luckily, my friends at AEW, Lexi and I like threw a little birthday, and so she made it really special and fun. And my
Oh,
husband sent flowers, so it was a really nice
Oh.
day. Like everyone made it really special and really nice. And I do love working. It's not like I'm like, oh, I should go to work, on my birthday.
yeah.
So it was a pretty awesome birthday. Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I mean, because like it's not a typical job, and
Right.
so when people ask you, what do you do?
Yeah.
Is it hard to explain, or do you just kind of say,
Yeah.
I'm on TV?
Our landlord was just asking, he's like, what do you do again?
Hmm.
And I'm trying to, explain, but I think once in a while you'll meet somebody who knows about wrestling, or, I mean, obviously there's ring announcers in MMA, boxing, all those
Yeah.
sports as well.
Yeah.
So I think ring announcing is maybe a little bit easier to explain in backstage interviews, but yes, I've definitely run into like, how do I explain what I do? And, and people always find it really crazy that we travel 52 weeks a year. They think it's
Hmm.
like we're in a season for a certain amount of time. And I'm like, no, it's 52 weeks a year. Like we're always going.
Gosh.
So yeah. But, also any other job, you're working 5 days a week or whatever it is. So it's a
No.
lot, but there's trade-offs with everything, right? Pros and cons
Yeah.
for
Hmm.
all different kinds of stuff.
Maddie, did you have a question for her?
So I love AEW. Like I'm on this show, I'm the AEW girl because
Yeah.
Okay.
Mary likes AEW, but she's still trying to branch out a little more. So is there anything like about AEW that you were just kind of gravitated towards specifically in terms of like wanting to work there, or did it just kind of happen? Like what was kind of the
Yeah.
story there?
Yeah. I felt when I was having my tryouts there, because I went a couple weeks in a row, I really felt like the atmosphere backstage and with the girls in the locker room and the way that production and staff, like the way everyone was treating me and treating each other, I really fell in love with the atmosphere. And I remember talking with my husband just about all the possibilities, like where I could end up, what opportunities might come, and where I felt the most comfortable. And I just felt a sense of comfort at AEW. And also, it felt like a really good place for me to come in and learn. They are newer and they're growing. And that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I'm
Hmm.
very new to this and growing. And it felt like a really good fit. It felt like,
Yeah.
yeah, like where I was kind of supposed to be on this journey, and I feel like that's only grown, and those relationships and friendships and getting to know the people I work with backstage, like that's grown, and
Mhm.
that was initially what drew me to it, though. The people. I remember telling my husband I feel really comfortable there and I feel really um, valued, and it's not like that I could compare it to something else and be like I didn't feel that anywhere else, because obviously I didn't have that experience, but just being there felt right. Yeah. And
That's a good
also,
feeling.
it's where the best wrestle. Come on, like who doesn't want to be
There
there?
you go. You guys heard it here.
Yeah.
There you go.
Did they ask you if you had like, kind of like an interviewing background or like anything like that?
Yeah. Actually, so when I was trying wrestling many years ago, 8 years ago or something, Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler were at my tryout,
Oh.
and they were so encouraging. Like, couldn't have asked for better people to be helping like a group of people who didn't know what they were doing in the ring or outside of the ring. They were so kind and gracious. And they saw when I went back to SoCal Pro the previous summer, they saw that I was trying to get back into wrestling and doing interviews. So they helped me get my foot in the door. And when I got there, Mike Mansuri, he's been the person that's really helped me out with this journey and like given me a shot. And yeah, he asked and they saw videos of what I had done. And I think, I mean, I don't want to speak for them, but I think they saw that I was like hungry and willing to learn. And I think that's such a huge thing. It is really hard when people have maybe been in the business for a long time too, to be willing to learn from other people and to be willing to take advice. I mean, that goes for any job, but I really have like a hunger for knowledge and learning from people that are better than me and have done this longer than me. So I think, I know I wasn't like the greatest, and I'm still not the greatest or anything, but I know I wasn't like leaps and bounds above everyone else, but I am really hungry to learn and so.
Do you have any like inspirations in terms of other ring announcers, or like, is there anybody you kind of draw that inspiration from when you're doing it?
Yeah, I think of course, I think there's a fine line. For me, everyone has their own method. I don't want to speak for anyone else. For me, I think there's a fine line between studying and like being a student of the game, which I think everyone has to do. Like I watch multiple products. I'm always keeping an eye on everything and an ear on everything. But I also don't want to imitate anyone else, which I think can be tough when you listen to someone over and over again. Naturally, I think, you can do that. I think there probably were times when I started AEW that I was like trying to imitate Justin. And Justin has been a huge, huge inspiration for me. I think not only do I think he's absolutely phenomenal at what he does, but he cares so much. Like he cares so much about the psychology. And there's so many things that go into ring announcing that you wouldn't even think of. I mean, there's the hosting side of it. There's, knowing when a heel comes out in their hometown, do you give them the hometown or not? Because you don't want them to get the pop. There's like all these little psychological things that go into ring announcing, and he really cares and is really willing to share his knowledge. So yeah, he's been a huge inspiration for me. Bobby Cruz is phenomenal. He's been there and he's been super helpful. Of course, Lillian Garcia, when I was first kind of starting to watch wrestling and get into it, how could you not? Alicia Taylor at WWE has been, there's like so many people. And everyone has their own style. And I think that's one thing about ring announcing is like, in the beginning, it's hard to drown out what people say. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone has their favorite style. Some people like really big, louder voices. Some people like a more muted, softer tone. And like, you're not going to please everyone, No. So I think listening and learning from all of them, but not trying to imitate them and finding my own voice has been that's been my big challenge this year. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has their own personality. Like, if you look at Kayla Braxton, like her interviews with people versus Kathy Kelly, like there's clear differences between them. Kathy gets sassy sometimes with these wrestlers.
Yeah, and even like between Renee and Lexi, like when I was doing the backstage, I loved getting to watch both of them because they are so different. And again, both. I know I keep going back to this, but everyone there is so knowledgeable and willing to share that knowledge, which is fantastic. Like Renee was so helpful and Lexi so helpful every week. And even though we don't necessarily work together anymore, there's still so many ways that our jobs intersect, Yeah. And it's a good environment.
But that's so nice to hear, because a lot of times, sometimes in different work environments, there's that competitiveness. There's that like, oh, well, I want to be the top dog, so I don't want you to succeed. Like, so I'm glad to hear that it's not like that, and that it's good vibes over there. That makes me feel better.
Yeah. I think there can be like a healthy, I think about this a lot in sports, but when I did Highland Games, I think there should be like a healthy level of desire to succeed, and like inside of you, like you should want to, and you should try and be the best you can be, but not stepping on other people or hurting other people to get there is really important. And I think my job is a little bit unique because I'm not one of the wrestlers. It's I think I have a little bit of a like removed role from that. I think on the indies, like I experienced what you're talking about. There's that level, there can be that level of competitiveness or cattiness between people, and it's unfortunate when that happens, But
because those are the people trying to work their way up. So
Yeah,
I guess that makes more sense. What would you say is the biggest difference between doing ring announcing on the indies versus a live show?
Yeah, well, I can't say I worked the indies as a ring announcer. I only did, I thought
you did
or
it at
three.
SoCal Pro.
Well, at SoCal Pro, yeah, I did 2 or 3
Okay.
before going to AEW. I think it was 2 house shows and then 1 we did at a brewery. So
Nice.
yeah, the difference is I remember the first day that I went, that I got to AEW, and they handed me a format for TV, and I had never seen a format. Like, I've never seen how a TV show is run.
Yeah.
And I remember like watching now in hindsight, and like it all makes sense and stuff. It's so silly, but I just remember getting that format and seeing like every second is accounted for on TV. There's a format to how the show goes.
Mm-hmm.
That was a huge change for me because an indie show is way more relaxed in that sense, right? A match ends, you can go out there if you want 30 seconds to talk to the crowd or 3 minutes to talk to the crowd. It's up to you. You can take your time. I didn't get a ton of experience, obviously, doing that on the indies, but just the pacing. I think that's the biggest thing. The pacing of a live show versus an indie show is really different. I'm trying to think if there's, TV is, even a taped day when we tape collisions versus live collisions, those are night and day to me too. So there's a lot of, when it's live, it can be very different.
So AEW Collision is obviously AEW's newest show with the addition of Rampage and Dynamite. Was there any because it's so new, something Tony Khan was like really hyping up, and it's great, of course, we expect that. Was there any added pressure of joining that and being like, oh, this is a whole new show, like how is this gonna go? Like, how did you feel about going into that?
Yeah, well, when I came in, I started on Dynamite doing some of the backstage stuff. When I got the opportunity to go to Collision, yes, I definitely felt some pressure, that I would be the host and lead ring announcer of that show and wanting it to be really, really good. I think that everyone works because our roster isn't split. So everyone works really well between both shows. There isn't, in my opinion, I don't feel a big divide between Dynamite versus Collision. There's a few people or a few talent maybe that are more on Collision versus Dynamite, but overall, I think everyone there always wants it to be, whether it's Dynamite or Collision, everyone wants it to be the best it can possibly be. So I also came in about, I think, a year after Collision had already been on the air. So it was pretty established, but yeah, I think it's always the goal. We're always hoping that we're making good TV and everyone enjoys it at home,
Absolutely.
And were you always a wrestling fan, or was it kind of like a new love?
A new love, yes. An adult love. My
That's
knowledge,
okay.
my knowledge of, what about you guys? Did you grow up?
Lifelong. Girl, Jonathan's my brother, remember? This is a lifelong journey.
My knowledge of wrestling was, I was a huge, I wanted to be an actress forever. I love movies and TV. So I knew Andre the Giant was in Princess Bride, and I knew he was a wrestler. That was
I forgot about that.
That was pretty much my, and I think I knew a lot of the mainstream, Hulk Hogan and John Cena. But no, I didn't grow up watching it. When I was pregnant with my son was when I started watching. I think that was around the time I was watching Total Divas and Tough Enough. And yeah, that was, it clicked for me. I was like, this is really cool. I don't know. I was like, why have I never watched this before? And then AEW wasn't around at the time. Otherwise, I'm sure I would have been watching AEW. But yeah, my love for it definitely grew. And when I found a wrestling school, it became very apparent to me that you need to know your history. I think especially when you're training with some of the old school people who worked their way up through the system, if you don't know who was at WrestleMania 3 in the main event, it was stuff like that. I needed to start knowing my history and learning. So that was when I started watching as much as I possibly can and watching all different promotions. I try and do that as much as possible.
Yeah, I mean, especially as women, we unfortunately have to I don't want to say know more than men, but we have to be knowledgeable or
Yeah.
else we're discredited as, oh, you guys aren't real wrestling fans. You don't know who main evented
Totally.
WrestleMania 5. And it's like,
Yeah.
you know,
I think it's awesome that you guys are doing this because I feel like there's a need for women in this space.
mhm,
And it's only
definitely.
grown over the years, which is fantastic. But yeah, I think having spaces where women feel like you can be a part of it and it's not like a boys thing or whatever, it is fantastic. I love that you guys are doing this together.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
since we are mostly a women's wrestling podcast, well, I don't want to get you in trouble, but who is your favorite women's wrestler? Or who is your favorite person to announce when they come out?
That's a good one. Good way to rephrase
that.
Wow, that's a great question. It's a great question. There's certain people, I'll say this, when it comes to announcing with favorites, there's certain people that just have names that I feel like roll off the tongue easier.
Yes.
So like I think like Harley Cameron is a really fun one to say. I think Tony Storm, like, oh, I mean, gosh, I don't know. This is gonna be so hard.
My time is queen.
And there's also certain people I've done more than others. Like when people ask me my favorite overall, I think like Kazuchika Okada is one of my favorites. His name, to say it, is just so much fun.
Yeah.
Even his moniker, the Rainmaker, like all of it just kind of rolls off the tongue. So when it comes to announcing, that's my favorite. But you know, I feel like if you're asking me my favorite wrestler, I gotta go Timeless Toni Storm right now. I don't know. How can you not?
Yes.
Right?
How can
like,
you not? Oh my god.
She's phenomenal. I mean, all of them are phenomenal, but it's so good.
Well, really quick.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Maddie. Go ahead.
Are we doing last one, Mary, or
well, ask a question
because
I'm gonna do a
No.
slide.
Mary's having technical difficulties over there. So anyway, well, speaking of history making, AEW is obviously a company that's made a lot of history, coming up being basically WWE's biggest competitor. What do we got going on here?
I just wanted to go through really quick some photos and kind of have you explain a little bit. I couldn't get an actual photo of you at SoCal Pro, so I took a still from a video. But
we'll come back to the question after this.
Yeah, but how are you feeling that first day of ring announcing?
Okay, I was terrified. In fact, I mean, I credit credit Jeff so much. Jonathan too, because they asked me Jeff had asked me before to ring announce, and I was like, no, that is not my jam. I was way too nervous to even try it. And on this particular day, the ring announcer couldn't come. And Jeff was like, it will be so easy. Just bring cards. You can have fun. Like, we'll walk you through it. And they did, of course. They always take care of me. And the fans are fantastic.
Yeah,
but yes, I'm not sure if I can say swear words on here, but I was terrified in this moment. However, as the night went on, I think I definitely I started to have more fun and find my voice a little bit. But it is really funny going back and thinking about that night.
Yeah. And then this next picture I pulled up is from this was a lucha show at the Crash, I think, right?
Yes.
And you were a manager for this show, or what's the story?
I was. Well, fun story too is when I was training for wrestling, I was managing at the Crash. And one of the people that I managed was the Beast Mortos. I was wanted him for a few shows. It's so funny. And now we're both at AEW. But this was just like a one time. I was kind of doing the ring announcing, getting back into it this past summer, and Brian Cage was booked at the Crash. And so he asked me, or they asked if I wanted to come and manage again, just for old time's sake, and that was really fun. Yeah, that was a cool little throwback.
And girl, let me say, you looking good in this photo.
Period. Respectfully
to your husband.
Yes.
And then this photo is your debut on AEW Rampage.
Yes.
The outfit.
The fit is fitting.
Ladies. Thank you. That was a really, really fun night. They had told me that I was gonna go. I had been doing some Ring of Honor before or after the shows and some dark matches, and they had told me that I was going to get to do an episode of Rampage. I was really nervous.
Understandable.
Yeah, and Justin was so sweet. He stayed for the entire thing. He sat behind me for the whole show. So every question I had when I was like, do I get in the ring now? What do I do? You know, all these, like, do I talk to the crowd? All that stuff. He stayed there for all the matches, helped me through the night. And I was ecstatic. There's some moments, too, along this journey. I just wasn't totally confident or sure of myself in this role as a ring announcer. And I feel like there's some nights, like this night, where I was just like, I can do this if I keep working hard. You know, I can remember a few moments from like, you can do this. You got this, girl. And that was one of them.
It's so funny that you say you're nervous, because this photo just like confidence is oozing from this photo. Like it just looks like you really belong there. That's what it looks. It just looks so good.
Thank you guys. I think there is something to like, you know, having anxiety or nerves means you care about something. And I think too, when you are happy doing something, even if I'm nervous, if I'm happy to be there, I feel like that hopefully shows, you know, and shines through a little bit.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Absolutely.
Well, I think this is the last one, but this is from your birthday.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to show this picture because that cake looks delicious.
It was delicious. It was like the lightest, airiest, fluffiest cake. Lexi went and got it, and we just like split it up with all the girls in the locker room and Big Bill. And it was delicious. Yeah.
And the outfit game on point in this picture too. Yes.
Well, that was
love to see it.
Ladies, thank you, ladies.
Always.
Like that's another fun part of this job. Is
well, Maddie, if you want to ask your last question.
Yeah, I feel like this is a good one to end on. So again, AEW is obviously a company that's based on making history. Is there any moment where you've been like ring announcing that you felt like was your career defining or history making moment?
That's a great question. I don't know that for me, I felt that. I will say the moment that I think stands out and will stand out for me forever was when Adam Copeland was in the ring in Australia and the crowd was singing. That moment was like it's so cool to watch it, but feeling it and like seeing him when he turned around and stuff, that was a moment where I was like, this is really freaking cool. Like this is there's been so many moments too throughout the last year that I feel like whether I've been a part of it or not, or like, you know, sitting ringside and watching it are fantastic. I hope that answers your question. I'm not sure that I've had that moment yet, but
maybe that's a great answer. Maybe it's yet to come and we'll get to witness it.
Yeah.
It'll be so cool.
Well, again, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. Honestly, this is our biggest interview to date. So I was like so nervous, but you're so lovely.
Oh my gosh. I get nervous on podcasts because I don't know if you guys do this. Sometimes I'm thinking like, what questions might they ask beforehand? And then I'm like, what if I forget to mention someone who's fantastic and amazing and who's helping? You know, like I get so nervous. I'm like, am I going to sit back and replay all the things I said? But I'm really grateful that you guys had me on here. This was very fun. And I love what you guys are doing.
Do you want to plug your socials really quick?
Sure. I think it's the same on all of them. I know it's Arkady, ARKITTYY on Instagram. I think that's on Twitter as well. Or you could search Arkady Aura. I don't.
We'll put the links in the description. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We'll put the links in the description. That'll work.
Yeah.
We will.
Thanks, guys.
Well, I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. And get some rest.
Thank you.
And watch Collision on Saturdays.
Sometime. That would be very fun.
Please.
And good luck.
Yes.
I can't wait to hear you guys are at 200 and 300. Keep going.
Oh my gosh. We'll get there when we get there, girl.
Yeah.
Bye.
Awesome.
Thank
Bye.
you. Oh, she was so amazing.
See, you were nervous for nothing. Guys, Mary had texted me like 5 minutes before. She's like, "Where are you? I'm nervous." And I'm like, "Girl, I'm taking a piss."
Hey, don't put me on blast. That is rude.
That's what I do on this show.
Honestly, it is. But let me just say,
Ow.
See, I am not the only person who was influenced by Total Divas into like really like loving wrestling, and I know other people do too. So
Is that what you
in your
took away from
face.
that?
Okay, well, it's one of the things.
Anyway, I watched Total Divas, by the way. Like, I have seen the show.
I
That
know, but like
not only was that our biggest interview, I feel like that was our best interview too. Like, that was just
I
very,
agree.
yeah. She is amazing, and I'm embarrassed. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little embarrassed that she was on Rampage before. It slipped my mind because I just have always continued to associate her with Collision. So that is
Yeah.
my bad.
I mean,
But
it
watch
was
Collision
it
on
was
Saturday.
it was like last June or something. So
That's true. You guys know I don't remember anything. So
no, I'm the one who doesn't remember anything.
well,
That's
what
my
about you
brand.
remember for the show?
Don't take my brand. Thank you.
Great. But really quick, who we got in the chat? We got TJ, we got our boy Cap, we got Anthony, we got Zach, we got Caden, we got Karina, we got Eric.
We have all the besties.
Yeah, we do. We got Jonathan, Mary's brother. Shout out.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. I would love to have her back one day.
Absolutely.
You know what our next interview is going to be?
What?
Tony Khan. That's the
Girl,
goal. Guys, that's
bye.
the goal. If we can get Tony Khan on this fucking show, oh my god, I die.
Maddie would die. Yeah.
That would be fun. That would be fun.
Okay, well, that may be your goal, but my goal is like Renee, Kayla Braxton, like the Bellas, like that. Like those are my goals.
And those are great goals, and I support that. But I still think,
thank you.
I gotta ask him about that movie that he came and was talking about, where he's like, "There's this movie with this clock. Can we get this song on?" And then we're on like commercial break. It's like, Tony, we don't have time for this.
Girl,
No,
he probably doesn't even remember that he said that.
Probably not, but we're getting Tony Khan on the show one day. I swear.
Cap said to interview Tonga Loa. Boy, if you don't stop,
I'd just be sitting here in silence.
No, he just be like, nye, 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 nye.
That's Tongaloa, girl. Oh wait, no, that's Tamatonga.
My bad, wrong Tonga.
Tonga.
My bad.
Tonga. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, let's get into our conversations. The first thing that, well, we kind of talked about it over text, but we'll talk about it here now, is Miss Stephanie Vaquer is now a double champion. She is now the NXT Women's Champion and the North American Champion. And slay to her. Slay. Love her.
Props.
However, I am not a fan of this double belt situation. I think there is plenty of things that we could have done to avoid this scenario. I think we could have had a dramatic Julia having to relinquish the title, have some sort of rumble for the winner, like how we did with Becky, and then Liv won the title. We could have had something. We could have had like make it. I don't even know. I just like there's other things we could have done. And we could have had someone from the main roster just like come be a transitional champion for a little bit while they prepare people like Sol Ruka or Kaylani or like I know some people say Jada Parker. I'm not there, girl. I'm not on that train. I'm not on that train.
Nope.
Or Jordan Grace. Like I don't think it would be a bad thing to already put the title on her. She is incredible. So I think we could have done it a different way, but shout out to Stephanie for being a double champ. I mean, how do you feel about it?
I feel like you and I disagree on a lot of stuff, but this is something that we actually do agree on, because I have not. I know people are gonna watch this. I have nothing bad to say about Stephanie Vaquer.
No,
so nothing bad is gonna come out of my. I don't like it because and I understand that they're likely doing this because Julia's injured. So like, yeah, I understand that. Let's make that very clear. We get that, but I just personally feel like you have created a mid-card title for NXT, and now you're putting both titles on one woman. So you have now chopped your opportunities for other women in half. less opportunities because
Yeah.
unless Stephanie is defending double amount, which are they going to do that? Probably not, because booking just doesn't really work that way. So unless Stephanie defends just double the amount because she has 2 titles, I just don't like it. I don't.
And now it has to be a situation where, like, you know, if someone's going to face her, it's be like, well, but I want the North American title, or I want just the NXT title. Like, it's hard to do that, because then it's like, if someone beats her, they should get both championships theoretically,
right.
But we can't have double belt on NXT. We need the 2 separate titles. Like, imagine if, like, Tiffany was the WWE Women's Champion and the US title champion. Like, it's just not that, but I'm saying, like, it's the same thing. Like, don't put both titles on the same woman. Like, yes, it is history. It is history making. Slay, love that for her.
Yeah.
But I think we could have went a different route.
Like, and it also just sucks for Julia in a way. And again, I get it.
Yeah.
She's likely injured. I think we can basically say confirm that she is, because I don't think they would have done this if she wasn't. But she just went through like this whole process to beat Roxanne, and what was she champion for? I don't even know, guys. Maybe it felt like 30 to 40-ish days, if that. So I don't know. I have nothing bad to say about either woman. I felt like this could have been done in a better way, where we're not chopping our opportunities for the NXT women's division in half. So she was champ for 2 months. Okay, yeah, so it's kind of right. So I'm not a fan of this. If it's gonna be anybody, I'm glad it's Stephanie Vaquer, because she is amazing. I just hope that if they have her hold one of the belts for like over 200, 300 days, cool, awesome. I don't care. I'm down with that. But both, no. I think she should drop one of them after like less than 100 days, to be honest. At least have her drop the NXT North American Championship. So
yeah. I think I would rather have her drop that title.
Yeah. And then when Julia comes
NXT
back,
Women's,
she'll go after the NXT Women's Championship again.
But some people that we are so happy for is the Street Profits. They are tag team champs once again. As they should.
Shit. Finally.
As they should.
They beat DIY, right? Okay. Kind of sucks that DIY once again did not have a good reign, but
I think this one was better though.
It was better. Not by much, but it was better. But I just don't think that they should have. I'm glad they did this, because I don't think even though it's like bittersweet about DIY, I don't think they should have waited any longer for the Street Profits, because they were very vocal on social media about how they were like, hey man, we're right here and we're consistent and we're great and everyone else seems to think so what's going on? And so I'm glad, and they're right, they're absolutely right. So I'm glad that I'm glad that they got their moment, and you could just tell, man, like how happy Tez was, and it was just so like, I love that. So good.
Yeah, because I mean, they haven't been champions in a long time. Like, what, at least 2 or 3 years?
Cap is saying like after 4 years. I don't know how accurate that is, but it feels accurate.
I don't know. Sometimes I forget that COVID was 5 years ago, and I'm like, oh.
I feel old.
So, yeah. So honestly, time doesn't mean anything. Let's be honest.
Amen.
But no, I feel like DIY had a good run. They had a good rivalry with Motor City Machine Guns. But yeah, it's time for the Profits. You know,
hell yeah.
You know who else it's time for?
No.
Fabulously Hardcore.
Who?
Mia Yim and BFAB.
Oh yeah, we talked about this. Sorry.
No, I'm just kidding. They shouldn't be tag team champs yet, but I think it could be in their future. Listen, I like to believe in people, okay?
As long as Raquel is not a champion anymore, I'd be down.
Such a hater.
Give Liv Morgan something else. Oh my god. She's too talented to be yeah.
Well, but yeah, I'm excited that the Street Profits are tag team champions once again. I'm still not thrilled about the War Raiders being champions right now.
I
I honestly was rooting for American Made because I feel like the Creed brothers are really good and
I don't know why the
it could
Creed
be
brothers
fine.
didn't win. I don't know why they
Yeah.
didn't win.
I really thought they were going to, but I guess now we can't have two heel champs. I don't know. That's usually how that works.
Well, we did talk about this last week, so this is a great question because we have been kind of
Mhm.
vocal about how we felt about the lack of storyline, and Karina even writes this herself in chat with Tiffany and Charlotte. So what did you think about the brawl, and do you think it kind of amped up their feud a little bit, or still kind of feel the same as last week?
I think it did a little bit. I think it got the crowd really excited, especially when Tiffany went up on the Jumbotron and flipped off. Like, girl is not playing.
No.
She said, okay, you want me to fight for that main event spot? Here I go.
I mean, I don't think that Tiffany and Charlotte should main event. Even though it kind of makes sense for them to listen. If it's gonna be either Jey Uso and Gunther versus or main eventing, like, or Charlotte and Tiffany main eventing, obviously I'm gonna go for Charlotte and Tiffany.
Yeah.
But I think the main event match, night one main event, should be Bianca Belair, Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, and I
That
think
is also valid.
Yes, and I think night two should be obviously Cody Rhodes and John Cena. If you're gonna give one of the women's matches the main event, obviously Rhea and Io are right there. Better storyline, crowd is way more into it. And Bianca Belair will be a 2-time main eventer, and she will win in the main event.
I don't think so.
She should.
Because I don't think that they're going to move Bianca to Raw when the Street Profits just won the tag team titles. They're not going to split her and Tez.
Bianca Belair needs that title. Unless
they just are saying to the brand split. Like, I don't know. It seems that way because why was Gunther on SmackDown? Hello?
Well, doesn't there been talks of Bianca moving to Raw anyway? Like, that seemed to be like what they were transitioning.
But I'm saying now her husband is a champion, so he can't move. So I don't know. We'll see. They
as long as it's not Rhea thing, damn.
But Io was not having it when Bianca and Rhea were like talking trash to each other, and she's like, "Hello, I'm right here. I'm the champion.
Yeah.
Y'all need to be paying attention to me," which is true.
Facts. I love how there's still no accountability from Rhea Ripley. This is a problem I have with her character. It's like, and
nothing is ever her fault. She's like Drew.
Yeah. I've seen this all over Twitter, so I'm glad which I'm banned again. So I'll be back in a few days. But like everyone else is seeing it, so I'm glad it's immediately. She's like, Bianca, it's your fault I lost the title. It's like, girl, you got mad because Bianca was like, yeah, Io, get in the ring.
Like, she was cheering for both of them, not just Io.
She was, yeah. So I don't know. I would love for Rhea to just be like, because they had that one freaking backstage interview with Rhea where she was like, we're like, oh, character change. She's like, yeah, I'm heartbroken and like I gotta reflect. And it felt like we were gonna get some accountability.
Yeah.
But then it's just like, nothing's my fault. Mommy's always on top, and it's just the same crap. And that is why we're tired.
She was literally like, I'm stupid for believing that I had friends. Like she was blaming herself, but then she came out and was blaming Bianca again. I'm like, hello? Did we not watch the same backstage segment? Because yeah, I thought we were on the verge of change, but I don't know. We'll see.
Like, girl, you got physical with Bianca first. Please have a seat. Because Bianca was in that seat and she did not move. So I just can't.
Yeah. But let's move on to our last topic, which is Mercedes Mone versus Indi Hartwell.
Yeah.
I had no idea that this match was happening until like a few days ago, and I was like,
well, I think they only announced it a few days ago, to be fair.
Oh, okay. Well, then slay for me.
Slay.
But it was at City of Dreamz, which was I don't know if it was like a pay-per-view or just like a live event. Sorry,
I didn't mean to click on this. I mean, shout out Karina.
What was the company? That House of Glory? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yes, House of Glory Wrestling. Slay for them having Mercedes Mone and Indi Hartwell on their card. Fantastic.
Yeah. I like how Cap said Indi should win this match. Cap, the match is over.
Yeah, the match already happened.
And Mercedes won.
Yes, she did. But shout out to Indi for for killing it back on the indies. Isn't she? She's a champion in Australia now,
Yeah.
as she should.
I believe Mercedes Mone was always a dream match of hers, so pretty cool.
Aww.
Very cool. I don't love the fact that I didn't watch the full match. I'm going to, but I'm under the impression that she tapped out to Mercedes. So I don't love that they're having Indi as a champ tap out, but like, yeah, whatever.
But Mercedes is like a 4-belt champ.
Yeah.
Or 3-belt according
Mercedes
to you, but
Moné.
they're still calling her 4-belt Monet.
It's
so.
technically 3, and y'all gotta stop lying. Like that 4th is just like a purse, like an accessory.
Well, then tell Mercedes, because she'd be posting it. So
I'm not telling Mercedes nothing. She can do whatever she wants.
But yeah, I thought that match was really cool. I saw some of it on Instagram because I didn't know where to watch it or anything. But
I'm gonna find it and send it to you.
Okay. But shout out to House of Glory Wrestling, because that's awesome. And they do like a lot of shows in different cities. Like it's not just like a company that stays in one place. Like they travel and stuff. So I thought that was really cool.
Cool to see Mercedes in the indies again. I hope that's something that she kind of continues to do. And I feel like
I'm surprised that Tony Khan allowed it.
Tony's been very, I mean, Mercedes went into AEW being like under the impression, don't want to speak for her, but being like, hey, I kind of want freedom to not do what I want, but show up in other places and put eyes on
opportunities arise.
Yeah. And obviously with their relationship with Ring of Honor and New Japan, we're going to see her there. Eventually, we're likely going to see Mercedes versus Athena because they've been hinting at it so much.
Please give it to
everyone
me.
Very excited about that. I still am dying for Mercedes Mone versus Timeless Toni Storm because I feel like that feud is just gonna kick ass, and I just can't wait. And honestly, I feel like that might be one of the reasons why they put the belt back on Tony, for them to do that match. But no, this good match. I felt like Mercedes brought out the best in Indi Hartwell, and that was cool.
And
Cap is
she's
just
really
anti-Toni
talented.
Storm. I mean, Mercedes Mone. Cap's like, Mercedes should not win anything.
Oh goodness. But speaking of like kind of people who are showing up in different stuff, oh gosh, Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson showed up in TNA, coming after Ash by Elegance and her tag team partner. Oh my gosh, I can't think of her name right now.
We don't know.
I can't think of her name right now. I just saw it today. I'm so sorry.
Sorry, Queen.
Natty is going to have a match on GCW.
And Natty's got a book.
Guys, I manifested. Literally.
You really did.
The day after our was it the day after? I don't know.
I think it was.
Our podcast episode, Natty announced her memoir.
Crazy work. Like our timing was whack with that.
Do you think I don't know what
like she watched the show because she follows us and she's like, this is the moment now.
She was like, this is the time to announce it. I think it comes out in October, I want to say.
Oh wow.
So make sure you guys order that because I will be.
Mary will be reading that. I think I might get it. I don't know. I do love Natalia.
I will pre-order probably an autographed copy. I don't know. I love her so much. I love you, Natty.
Queen Natalia. Never
If we could get Natty on here, I'd cry.
I did DM her a while ago when she followed me back, but no response. But she's a busy woman. It's okay. I'm not offended.
Yes.
We'll try again one day, right after we get Tony Khan on the show.
Okay.
I'm gonna DM him just for like shits and gigs. Be like, hey, what's up, dog? You want to come on the show?
You want to come on our women's wrestling podcast?
I mean, he's got a lot. I feel like women's wrestling's biggest op, as the children say nowadays, is Triple H right now. So Tony Khan kind of in the clear.
I think it's TKO. I don't know.
Facts.
It might be The Rock. I don't know.
The final boss. Y'all had me laughing so bad with these final boss jokes that we were. The final freak. I still. Cap, you were crazy for that.
Yeah, I wanted to clip it, but I didn't want to get a bunch of backlash.
Here he goes again.
Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us and for welcoming Arkady when she was here a little bit ago. She's absolutely incredible. Make sure you're following her on Instagram and watch her on AEW Collision.
Every
She
Saturday.
is now I don't know what to say, an honorary member of this podcast. I don't know.
I would love that. Slay. And let us know what you guys want to see us do next week, because we don't
have time.
know.
We have time before Mania.
Yeah, we love the feedback, and I know you guys kind of were a little vocal about how you were kind of sick of the tier list, so I don't immediately want to jump back into that.
Yeah.
But let us know what you guys want to see. Top 10 John Cena. Okay. Well,
Oh my gosh,
this
okay.
is a women.
Honestly, wait. We have
We'll talk about it.
We have 1, 2, 3. We have 4 episodes before Mania weekend. And let me tell you guys, there will not be a live episode on that Sunday because we will be getting ready to watch WrestleMania. So
yeah,
if you
taking
have
the week off,
things that you want us to make podcast episodes about, like things you really want us to talk about that you feel like we haven't covered yet, please leave us a comment, like, subscribe, and yeah, Maddie, take us out.
What should I say about Logan Paul today? You know what? Nothing.
That he shouldn't
Tony
have a
Khan,
WrestleMania
we'll
match?
see you on the show. We'll see you on the show, Tony Khan.
Bye, Tony. Bye, guys.